I'm Tommy D from theknicksblog.com, from the studios of SNY here in downtown Manhattan. We'll talk a little Knicks basketball, some rumors as we get pushing towards the beginning of training camp, and I will do it as always with our good friend, now of Sheridan Hoops, not just the Hoops critic, Brian Geltzeiler. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, Tom, as always, my friend.
And some exciting news to the SNY team. Would you like to make a statement, Mr. Hamilton?
Yeah, I guess for those that don't know, I've taken over the duties of being the executive editor of SNYnets.com. It's going to be the Blog TV Network's Brooklyn Nets blog, and very excited about the opportunity.
Awesome, and the fans will enjoy the content, no question about it. And even if they don't, it'll be a good debate either way. As we get into some information here that I heard yesterday with the Knicks, sounds like they're going to try to bring in a veteran, from my understanding, a veteran shooting guard, possibly small forward, but somebody with NBA. Brian, we'll start with you. NBA experience. Some names out there. I don't know, haven't heard any, but give me some that you may think would be a good fit.
Two names that have been prominent in this are Tracy McGrady and Michael Redd. Now, in my opinion, Michael Redd's a much better fit than McGrady. I wouldn't be down on the move if the Knicks brought in McGrady. I think McGrady has something to add. But I think what's important for the Knicks as they fill this role is to understand is you're going to have Brewer most likely not starting the season. Shumpert's certainly not starting the season. So you're going to need somebody else to play that off-guard spot. But you want that player to also, once Brewer's back and once Shumpert's back, to have complementary talents to those two. Redd and McGrady are not strong defenders. As Moke had said to me before we went on camera, he referred to them both as turnstiles. I think that's appropriate.
Sure.
But by the same token, they both have offensive skills, especially Redd, who I think would be a real good fit with the three-point shooting.
And Moke, it's a great point, the complementary pieces. Brewer, certainly a defensive player. Shumpert, working on his offensive skills. Brewer can play a little offense, but not something that you're going to lean on at the shooting guard position. To me, it's the biggest need is that position and getting shots made from the outside. Michael Redd would be a good situation. McGrady, too, he could also play a little one. Anybody else on your mind, or are you with Brian on that?
Well, I'm with Brian, but the first thing is, man, the turnstile thing, I told you that in confidence. But it's funny, so, being the SNYnets.com executive editor, Jerry Stackhouse and Keith Bogans, it's funny. These guys, the Nets have a pretty loaded backcourt now, and either one of those guys, I think, would fit seamlessly into what the Knicks need to do at that two-guard spot. Mainly because you don't really want Jason Kidd to be in a situation where you're leaning on him to be J.R. Smith's primary backup at the two. So I do think bringing in another shooting guard is probably something that the Knicks should look to do. If he can play a little defense, it'd be great. But I kind of agree with Brian. They need someone that can keep the floor spaced and hit some jumpers from the two spot.
I mentioned Keon Dooling on Twitter last night. Apparently he announced his retirement, but I don't know if he can be brought back into the NBA with some incentive, namely some cash.
Well, one other name, Leandro Barbosa, from what I understand, he's still out there. He's still a free agent. I don't know that the Knicks can afford him, but, I mean, he's a free agent.
A lot of controversy going on here. Stephon Marbury, who we won't really talk much about. Clyde Frazier, though, Brian, mentioning some stuff specifically about Amari Stoudemire. If the tandem of Melo and Amari continue to struggle as they had over the last couple of years, does Amari come off the bench as the sixth man? Does that make any sense to you?
None whatsoever, Tommy. Amari Stoudemire is a starter in this league. Yes, he had an off year last year, but let's not throw him into a dumpster quite yet. He still has a ton of ability, maybe not the same athleticism he once did, but a ton of ability. Listen, Tom, too much is made about this. Stoudemire and Anthony can't play together. Last year, the Knicks went 2/3 of the season without a point guard on the floor. That's going to be a major strain on having these guys function together on the offensive end. This year, you have Felton here as a facilitator. Anthony certainly is going to get his looks and his opportunities, but Amari has a legit pick-and-roll partner right now. With Felton on the floor to facilitate this offense, I don't think they have to play so much together. I think they both have to make the contribution they're capable of, and the Knicks will be fine there.
Moke, they've done a lot to surround Amari. They got him a point guard. And if he has these dream moves, right, these Hakeem Olajuwon moves, maybe he has two post moves, maybe he has a couple of counters. He's going to be a better post player, no question about it, if he's focused on it. His mid-range jumper needs to be better than it has been. But they've also surrounded him with guys at the forward position, specifically Camby and Kurt Thomas, who can knock down the jumpers off of him in the post, and the same can be said with Melo.
Right. Now, for me, I think I'm of the opinion that because of Carmelo Anthony's versatility on the offensive end, I think that he can play with anybody. Yes, you want to see him share the ball a little more, but the thing with Carmelo is he can make a jump shot. if Amari Stoudemire actually does have a couple of post moves that he can go to, I think the way that he coexists with whoever's playing at the 5 is more important than the way he coexists with Carmelo. Because if you have either Kurt Thomas or Marcus Camby hitting 10-foot jumpers, you're keeping the floor space for Amari to operate and do his thing. Another thing, if Amari made half of the open jumpers that he had last season, we would not be talking about this Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire
100%.
thing. He was not healthy. He had a horrible year. And I think people are kind of scapegoating Carmelo to say that he's the reason why Amari struggled. And I don't really agree with that.
I agree. We talk about it all the time. Up front, bottom line is you got to protect the rim and you got to be able to knock down shots from 15 feet. And the Knicks really have addressed those needs over the last couple of years. I think they're going to be a lot better. Guys, have a great weekend. Appreciate the information as always.
No problem.
And remember, to get all your information on the Knicks and a little NBA, check out the knicksblog.com, part of the SNY.TV blog network. For Brian and Moke, I'm Tommy. We'll see you next time.